We're going to start off by breaking the bead, and you're just going to put your weight into it and work your way around the tire. Just slowly keep going around until the bead pops off. Once you can push the inner lip all the way into the groove, you're done. Then take your tire irons and lift the lip out. You can use your disc brake as a little holder for your lever. You just want to pop the lip over the rim so you can pull out the inner tube. And then once it's off, you can just pull it out with your hands. Take the valve cap off, and then you can pull out the inner tube. So because I'm going to be patching the tube, I want to fill it up with air so I can find the leak. If you're not going to patch the tube and you're just going to replace it, then go ahead and skip this step. Now, I had a hard time finding it with just my hands, so I'm putting it in a water bath to see if I can find where it's leaking. And sure enough, the bubbles show up. I'm just going to wipe it with a paper towel so it's dry, and then mark it with a permanent marker so I can find it later when I'm putting the patch on. I recommend not putting the permanent marker right where your hole is, because sometimes the glue dissolves the marker and it makes a mess and the patch doesn't stick properly. Now, you're going to want to take out your valve core so the tire is as flat as possible with no air inside it. Once it's nice and flat, you're going to scuff it up with the scuff tool that comes in your patch kit. Just try to scuff it up in random patterns so there isn't a direct path for it to leak. It's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see a pinhole right where the marks line up. You're going to want to put a generous amount of the rubber cement on the tube there. You just want to make sure your patch is going to stick really well to it. Remove the backing from your patch and apply it. Gonna rub it in to make sure the patch is completely coated, and then press down. I will be taking that top foil off later. I just like to leave it on so it doesn't get my hands all sticky. Now you leave it to dry. Once it's dried, you can peel off that upper protective film on it. Now at this point, I like to fill it up with air and check to make sure my patch isn't leaking. So I'm going to put the valve stem back in, fill it up with a few PSI, and then take it back to the water bath and confirm we have no bubbles anywhere near the patch. So no bubbles means you're good. Now for installing the tube, I like to take out the valve core because it makes the tube as flat as possible. And you're going to want it as flat as possible to be able to squish the tire right down into the middle groove of your rim. So that's really key when you're putting your tire back on. When it starts to bind, being able to push the tire rim down into the middle gives you that extra little bit so that you can force it on there. I'm going to put the valve stem back on so it doesn't fall out. And then make sure when you're starting putting the seating the tire that you start right where the valve core is, because you don't want to end up with the valve core at the end where it's all tight, because it's a lot harder to put in and you can potentially damage the inner tube. So basically you're going to want to twist the top half down and hold it with one hand, and then you're just going to work your way around the tire. So while twisting with one hand, just pushing the tire into the center groove of the rim, and then each time you push it in, it gives you a little bit of slack, which lets you slip on that groove. And then if you do this enough times, you end up at the end where the tire just slips onto the rim, and then you're good to go. This one's almost on there. And pop. Yeah, there we go. Now your tire's seated. These fat tires are a lot harder to do than regular bike tires for some reason. Now you're just going to want to fill it up. Now if you watch closely, I made the mistake of not putting the valve core back in, so I'm basically going to seat the inner tube and everything, and then when I take it off the pump, it's going to deflate. That was not on purpose. And here I am finding out that I forgot to put the valve core in, and the whole thing just deflates. So yeah, remember to put the valve core back in before you inflate it. And I like to inflate it in 2 or 3 stages. I'll do 5 psi, seat the tube, make sure it's not pinched anywhere, then go to 15, bounce the tire a little, and then go to the full 35 or whatever pressure you want to. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.